That's too funny. Okay. Matilda, 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 she take me money and run Venezuela. All together now, Matilda, 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 she take me money and run Venezuela. Elaine, there you are. Nancy Roth, hi. Perry, hi. Joan O'Keefe, nice to see everyone from Tennessee. That's Joanne and Rachel from Michigan. Hi, Christine. Let's see. Elaine's from Chicagoland. I know. I love Chicago. Used to live in Chicago. Linda, hello, Linda. Rick, a man. We do have men here. My husband's here, and Buster just walked by. That's 2 males, plus Rick. That's 3. Hi, Aaron. Aaron could be a man, but I suspect it's probably a woman from Pittsburgh. Hi. All righty, we're getting there. Darla Gray from Iowa. Holy Cross Farm. Hello, Holy Cross Farm from Montana. Groovy. Francine. Nice to meet everyone. Nice to see everyone. It's great to see all my old timers and my new timers. And Michelle, of course, from Chico, California. It's wonderful. Dawn from Georgia, Arizona, Florida, Chicago, Virginia, Montana. It's beautiful to see. Love it. Austin. You know I have to waste some time before everyone gets started. So my husband wanted me to say something important tonight. And I said, help me remember to say it. And he didn't remember to, he didn't remind me. And I said, why didn't you remind me? And I just at that moment, I pushed start and I said, my gosh, the whole group is going to hear us arguing. And Buster's horfing. So tonight we are going to talk about burns. But before I even start on burns, even though this medicine is more often used for acute conditions, I want to talk about something. Oh, hi, Shannon. I want to talk about something that everyone needs to consider when you're starting to use a homeopathic medicine. Always, whatever symptom you're experiencing, always look back and see what it is you're taking. If you're taking a drug, check out that drug and see if that drug causes that condition. This is key. I can't tell you the number of times I've met with folks who tell me they have this condition or that, they have weak legs or achy legs. How long have you had it? 3 years. How long have you been, what other drugs, what are you taking? I mean, I know that in advance generally, but sometimes people start new drugs and I don't know about it while I'm working with them. Because I do encourage people to work with their doctors. I know that might seem antithetical to what I'm doing, but it's actually not. I want people to have a good medical doctor on their team. And then I find out they're taking statin drugs. And statin drugs are known for, especially in men, to cause leg pain and weakness. So to treat leg pain and weakness in someone who's taking a statin drug, and particularly when we pretty much can figure that that is the cause of the weakness and leg pain, because statin was started 2 years ago, and shortly after the leg pain presented, then we know it's very likely that that could be the cause. Or even if it isn't the cause, we ought to at least consider that possibility. Stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction, stimulus, reaction. So we can homeopathy help with side effects of drugs? It can actually in certain circumstances. So because there are certain drugs that people feel very strongly about. Chemotherapy is one of them. People feel very strongly about chemotherapy. So we can use homeopathic medicines to help with the side effects. It doesn't undo, it doesn't undo the benefits, whatever they might be with chemotherapy. It doesn't interfere with the chemotherapy. It simply helps with the nausea, the hair loss, etc., weakness. And it's the same thing with many other drugs that people need to be on. Let's say they had to have surgery, they had to have general anesthesia, etc. Of course we want general anesthesia when you're going through major surgery. So we can use homeopathic medicines to help along with that. So that certainly is a point that could be well taken. However, when it's a superfluous drug, and I'm going to be honest here, I don't believe that statins are valuable drugs. I believe that they're superfluous. And so I am not going to tell someone, get off that statin drug, but I would ask them to reconsider the way they're thinking and perhaps meet with a doctor who is more in their court. Pardon me? Yeah, Dr. Bronstein is one of those doctors who believes very strongly in the problem with statin drugs. What's his first name? Do you remember? Is it Eric? Okay, we're going to look it up. So always look to see what drug someone might be taking and then read if that particular condition is a side effect of that drug. That's the first thing you look at. The second thing you look at is what supplements are people taking? People think supplements are innocuous, that they're perfectly safe. And I'm here to tell you nothing is perfectly safe, including homeopathy, by the way. It has to be used judiciously. And so supplements can cause trouble too. Vitamins can cause trouble. If you're taking vitamin D, think twice, it's synthetic. I am not a proponent of vitamins. Doesn't mean you would never, ever, ever use vitamins, but on a day-to-day basis, most people think, oh, what the heck, I'll just take some vitamin C. No, if you want vitamin C, just eat some oranges. Eat rose hips if you want it highly concentrated. So you have to look at supplements because I can't tell you the number of times I've worked with folks who have been taking supplements, and I suggest that there's a possibility that that whole group, sometimes there's Ziploc baggies full of supplements people are taking, and I know personally because I used to do it myself some 35, 40 years ago. And they stop taking the supplements and 50% of their conditions wash away. So what you have to do is look at it as a timeline. When did this condition begin? When did I begin that drug or that supplement? Now, I'm not done looking back, folks. Look at something else. Look at what homeopathic medicines you're taking. They too can cause trouble if used injudiciously. And I'm not saying that, I'm not shaking a finger at you for using a homeopathic medicine injudiciously. What I'm saying is be watchful. If you're taking a medicine, you started a schedule of homeopathic medicines back in April, and you're still taking one of those medicines and you're having problems, it's approximately that time or 2 months after that time that you started that particular schedule, you've got a condition that's kind of out of the blue, by all means look at that medicine. So before I even start a case, I'm looking at what drugs they're taking, what supplements they're taking, and what homeopathic medicines they're taking. And then I know my medicines. I know homeopathy. I know instantly, pretty much. I mean, I don't know the entire materia medica, but I have a very good idea, excuse me, of what medicines someone is using homeopathically and what that could produce. Because it's being proven. Because we've got a proved case. Because the person is not getting better from that condition, and yet the other symptoms are arising. But I don't know drugs, so I have to go online and look. I wish we could count on online information more thoroughly. There was it wasn't too long ago that we could, but I know that there are trolls out there flipping things around, and you go to look for side effects of thus and so, and you think you're going to find it in the first entry, and no, that's not what that's about. And you go to the second entry, and that's not what it's about. And you go to the third entry, and it looks like, oh, all about side effects, and it's nothing but an advertisement, essentially. So instead, look at look at, does this particular drug cause this condition? Now read not just what the industry has reported, although that's valuable, obviously. You want to look at what people are saying themselves. Now, many would say, but that's not enough people. We want large studies. As far as I'm concerned, when someone reports that they have leg pain while taking statin drugs, and then the leg pain melts away after stopping the statin drugs, that might be one person, but we can't ignore it. We have to look at that. That's clinical information. Now, if you see another person saying it and another, and it's a, I don't know, do they still use the term chat room? But if several people are discussing it, then there's a possibility that could be it. And then what do you do from there? Well, if it's statin drugs, you talk to a doctor who has an alternative to that idea. I mean, I have lots of ideas on that. It has to do with nutrition, and it has to do with the Weston A. Price Foundation and the information that they put out on cholesterol. So Weston A. Price Foundation is something that you might want to look into. I'm a director on the board of Weston Price Foundation. I'm an honorary member of the board, and it's a very good organization. It's a not-for-profit. Pardon me? And it's a nutritional organization, not-for-profit, out of Washington, D.C. So they have a lot of good information. And those areas around that, once you start digging into this whole cholesterol thing, you might think quite differently about it. All righty. So that's where we start. Anytime you're looking at a chronic condition or even an acute condition, look at what the person is taking. Usually it shows up chronically. So tonight we're going to talk about burns. And we're going to use my Materia Medica, where I discuss it. This is my Materia Medica. But again, I always say my Materia Medica is practical. It's short. It's concise. Makes it easy for people who want to use this in a jiffy. But there are many other Materia Medicas. Dr. James Tyler Kent's Materia Medica is online for free. I own many, over 30 Materia Medicas, and I resort to them frequently. I don't use all of them. I use 2 or 3 that are my favorites, but I still go back and read others. Every once in a while, I forget that I own one. I go to my bookshelf and I pull one out and poke around for a while. So the remedy we're going to talk about tonight is Cantharis. 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 And it is an excellent medicine for burns. It's for an actual burn, steam exposure, burning from the sun, from a chemical burn, a burn from electricity, direct exposure to radiation. And I'll give you an example. My mother had glasses very much like these. Both have been wearing these kinds of glasses for a long time. And what I mean is they were very large framed. And my mother now has Alzheimer's, late stage Alzheimer's. But years ago, when she was just moving into that, she would make mistakes in things that she normally would not have made mistakes doing, such as when she was cooking. And so one day she was using a pressure cooker. Dangerous thing to use if you're about to make a mistake. And she opened it up and had her glasses on, and the steam came flooding at her face, and she was wearing a V-neck blouse, and she burned her entire face with the steam and down to her to the V on her chest. Her eyes were spared. Thank God. She was wearing large glasses, one of the advantages. And she called me and said she was very much in pain. What should I do? What should I do? Now, my parents have homeopathy in their home, and my father ran and got her the kit and got Cantharis out as I directed. And at the time, I don't remember if we used a 30 or 200. I'll bet it was probably a 200 potency, but I'm certain a 30 would act just as well, would have acted just as well. So she started to take it. I also I had her take aconitum, which is for shock. We talked about that earlier. So if you don't know about aconitum, go back and go through, because we're in the C's now, go back to the A's in this Materia Medica follow through that we're doing. And that was for the shockiness of it and the angst and the fear, and then Cantharis. and then aconitum and cantharis, and then cantharis, and then cantharis. And how often are we doing it? Well, it depends on how painful it is. It was quite painful. So we were using it every, as I recall, it was many years ago. I'm going to say perhaps it was every, I don't know, 15 minutes for the first several doses, maybe 3 or 4 doses. Some people call that a load dose. I don't quite use that term, but it is a good way to get started. So you're using cantharis, 15 minutes later, cantharis. Now, if she were screaming in pain, which she was not, she was stepped up and anxious and was quite it was quite painful, but had it been very extreme, I would not have waited even 15 minutes. I might have gone 5 minutes apart, and I would have definitely used a 200. So if it was a very extreme situation, of course, we're on our way to the emergency room. Now, had we not had homeopathy in that situation, my mother probably would have gone to an emergency room. But it worked so quickly, it calmed her right down. The aconitum calmed her down, and the cantharis calmed her down and calmed the pain. And it was every 15 minutes. And I don't remember exactly, but my guess is probably every 15 minutes for about an hour or so. Then we backed off every 30 minutes. Okay, she's doing all right. Now it's starting to come back up again. It's starting to hurt. The pain is getting bad again. Okay, give another dose. And then you're looking at the watch, how often to give this for a burn. I'll give you another, and it was amazing. She was left with no scar. The pain was minimized enough so that she was able to sleep that night. Then she woke up in the middle of the night. The pain came back. She started up again. And then the next morning, she used it as needed. Just the way, when I say as needed, just as you would know, you would take, let's say you had a headache and you were using conventional medicine and you took Tylenol. You would take it when you need it and not take it when you don't. How do you know you need it? The pain. So that's what you're using as your measure, is the pain, especially in an injury such as this. A second situation was a cousin of mine who was at an event where she was seated at a table and couldn't get away. She was at an event where she couldn't step aside and get to a bathroom. And she was perspiring, and she had these tabletop cloths to clean the table that she was in. And she thought, well, that cleans the tabletop. I'll use it in under my arms, in her axillary area. And she used it under both arms, and it caused severe burn. Now, I don't know what was in it, but when we looked at it more closely, it was clear that this was not to be used on the body, especially in such a sensitive area. So she burned herself quite badly. I would call it a chemical burn, and it was extremely painful. So unfortunately, she did not have a homeopathy kit with her, and it wasn't until she got home, but her axillary area was swollen and red and very, very painful. And even though she went and tried to wash it off, the damage had already been done. So cantharis was the medicine, 200 potency. Cantharis, again, every 15 minutes, because the pain was quite severe in the beginning. And then after a while, she opened it up to about every hour, then every 2 hours, was again able to fall asleep, not unlike my mother. When someone falls asleep after a medicine has been administered, that is an indicator, folks, that you've chosen the right medicine. And if they wake up into the pain again, don't assume, oh no, the medicine's not working. No, it means that the person needs the medicine again. Just as though if you were to have a headache, you would never consider the Tylenol not working. If you needed to take it 6, 7, 8 hours later, you would think you'd need to take it again. Same thing with homeopathy. The difference is, however, homeopathy uproots the condition. We're not treating pain. We're using pain. We don't treat symptoms. We use them. Symptoms are our gifts. They are very important to determine what to use and how frequently to use, and even sometimes what potency to use. So those are 2 examples of burns. Those are external burns, burns coming from steam, burns coming from a chemical. Now let's talk about internal burns. Cantharis is one of our all-time favorite medicines for burning pains that are on the inside, in the mucosal areas. Not the stomach, so much, not the brain, not the lungs, more bladder. So we're talking about bladder infections, urinary tract infections. It might not even be the bladder. It might be only the urethra or the ureter going around the side. It can be right at the opening of the urethra where there's burning. So burning pain is, especially with a urinary tract infection, is cantharis. And I like to start with the 30th potency. And again, we use it as needed. If it's a mild pain and it's something that you've been accustomed to in the past, you said, oh, I know this pain. Here comes that urinary tract infection. I've had it in the past. I know exactly what it feels like. And this is, I know how fast this starts to mount into a full-fledged infection. You start taking the medicine twice a day. Cantharis 30 twice a day. If it's more extreme than that and you say, uh-oh, here comes the urgency, the frequency, the burning, the pain, dribbling of urine. Urine might have, doesn't have to have all of these. It can have just some of them. It might have a strong odor to the urine. There can be a cramping in the back, which means that you better move quickly because that means the kidneys may be involved. And you don't want to get into a kidney infection. So you use this Cantharis twice a day if it's mild, and usually it breaks the pattern. And we use it in more frequently, even as often as in every hour if it's extreme enough. So it's a beautiful medicine for burns in the mucosal region and also from external burns themselves. So I'm going to take a quick look and see what we are getting here. All right. I'm cute, she says. Thank you. I think. I got vitamin poisoning 2 years ago, says Nancy. I had all of these issues, and then blood tests showed levels of B vitamins so high it was dangerous. B vitamins are probably the vitamins that I dislike the most. Why? Because they're bifurcated. B12 means you don't have B1, B2, and B6. And what about B95 that they haven't discovered yet? I don't mean to be facetious here, but things are being discovered every day. And there are micronutrients that are involved in foods that have B vitamins that it's very likely we have not even discovered yet. So if you want B vitamins, eat bee pollen. Want B vitamins? Eat red meat. Eat, by the way, a lot of red meat. I feel very strongly about red meat. Eat liver. If you don't like liver, then take capsules of liver. All righty. Let's see. There's someone else saying that they got vertigo from taking vitamins. Yes, please remember to share this, folks. Share this on, go to YouTube. We're there, and join there because that will build our YouTube audience. That was what we were going to talk about.
We're transferring them over to YouTube.
Yeah, we're transferring them over to YouTube. So go there too, and please share this with folks. All right. Let's see. Trying to type, let's see. Frustrating, finding information, babies raised. Yes, you bet. I have Weston A. Price babies raised traditionally. You bet. Very good thing to do. Who love. I'm here with my 3 kiddos, little kiddos who love Joanne and homeopathy. Hi, 3 little kiddos from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, the Bresslers. All right. For burns, steam. Yep, that's right. That's right. Materia Medica, would you, let's see. Love your Materia Medica. Thank you. No, I don't use, someone's asking me, do I ever use Cantharis in a higher than a 200? No, I don't ever do that. I've never had to do that, or that I recall. I mean, perhaps in the past, but 30 usually does it. If 30 doesn't act, then I go to a 200 for a urinary tract. I should have said that. I go automatically to 200. I have not had to use it in a 1M. It doesn't mean that it's not valuable. It could be valuable. I just don't use it because I find that it usually takes care of things. Okay. Amazing remedy. Yes, Cantharis. I used it when I burnt my thumb with heated coconut oil. Oh, oil burns are very painful. Yes, you bet. All right.
Did you see you had someone from Finland?
We have someone from Finland. Great. Beautiful. We really need to know a person's medicines and its side effects in order to help them for acute homeopathically. No, you don't need to know, not for acute so much. I'm talking more for chronics. If you're trying to figure out a chronic condition, you might want to look at whether or not that drug is causing it. It's very, very common. Okay. No. So when you're talking to someone who's taking drugs and you're dealing with, they've gotten a burn, obviously you're not going to be looking at their drugs. There's not enough time. You're treating. Your sister-in-law is in a lot of pain. You help her out. Don't worry about the drugs at that point, because homeopathy will not interfere with drugs. Just so you know that. How about a diaper rash that is hot and burn-like? It's certainly possible, but that's not necessarily, it can be used for a skin condition that is internal, presenting outward. It's not the first one I think of. I usually think of sulfur for that, but yes, it could certainly be considered. I actually had a chemical peel a week ago and took Cantharis, didn't realize how intense it was going to be. Looked it up in your Materia Medica and you found it. Great, Dawn. I'm happy that you found that. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, from Ontario. Hi, folks from Ontario. I keep Cantharis next to my stove. Isn't that interesting? What a good idea. Yeah, especially if you have lots of people cooking, you know, kids cooking and all. Yes, Cantharis by the stove. Boy, I wish that I had thought of that. We could have had a little picture of a stove with the Cantharis bottle next to it. Is Cantharis automatic for UTI even with no burning pain? Yes. Good question, Rachel. I'm glad you asked that question. It doesn't have to be burning pain. It can be just UTI. It can simply be a urinary tract infection, urgency, or not and, frequency, or dribbling, or strong odor of the urine, or or burning, or pain after, or et cetera, et cetera. That can be there without the burning, because Cantharis is so good for the urinary tract that it can also be used in that way. Years ago, my 1-year-old touched the glass door to our fireplace with a burning fire in it, red blisters on all 4 fingers. Poor babe. I immediately gave him Cantharis. I'd love to know what happened, Clarice. It's Clarice. Yes, Clarice. Will camphor interfere with blood thinners? Homeopathy does not interfere. It's on a completely different plane. It will not interfere. If you're using camphor to open a case, like I talked about, I think it was last time, it will help antidote the ill effects of the drug. It does not undo the drug. That's the part most people don't understand. It will not undo any benefits that the drug is providing. Instead, it will take away those side effects that are not so nice. Conventional doctors ought to know about this. It's a great way to give drugs and see a little bit fewer side effects. It's not going to be across the board, but it can help. All right. Holy Praetor King. Cantharis 200 and Arsenicum 200C alternately. Okay. Cantharis is a lifesaver. You bet it is. 4 doses. Would you stop when the acute pain is done and it hasn't helped? No, I don't think I would stop that quickly if it doesn't help after 4 doses. Not for this. That is generally a rule of thumb in homeopathy, but I would not do that. I would stay with it longer and go a little bit closer if it's not helping enough. Or I go to a higher potency. I'd use the 200 and more frequently. Don't give up on it. It's not the only one we have for burns. There are others. There's Urtica urns. There are others. We won't go into them now because we've got so many more remedies to go through in the future, but I wouldn't give up on it. You might add something else. Where antibiotics never cured my UTI, I started using Cantharis and my chronic UTIs disappeared. You bet, Rose. Isn't it so? I see it all the time. Okay, let's see. I had to hold him in a lot for about an hour, kept giving him the Cantharis to him every few minutes. After about an hour, he fell asleep. Oh, this must be the baby who touched the red hot glass of the glass from the red hot fire. Yep, beautiful, beautiful. Cantharis. Would you use Cantharis before trying Ferrum and Calimere as is described in your Gateway book? I also like Ferrum Phos and Calimere, and you could use all 3 if you needed to, and especially if you had a situation like the last person just said, they're 4 doses already, and it's still not doing enough, throw in Calimure. Calimure is a beautiful medicine. It's a simple little cell salt. We use it in a 6X or 3X, and a Ferrum Phos. Certainly you may do that. I used it after too much yard work and got a painful sunburn. It was better in a few hours. Thanks for sharing about this. You bet, Evelyn. Okay. Is Cantharis in a cream to put on the burn or on a water solution, such as plunging your burned fingers in? You know what? You can buy Cantharis ointments or ointments with Cantharis in them. I'm pretty sure Hylands, Hylands, carries it. I'm pretty sure Boiron, Boiron, carries that. If you're a client or student of mine, you can go to OHM Pharmacy. Unfortunately, they're not retail, so they're not available to the entire public. And if you go to Boiron, Boiron, you go to their site, and when you're ready to check out, if you put in my name in the little box, you will get a discount. Just put Joette. That's all you need to write, Joette, Joette. You get a discount. And I have to add, I want to add this time and time again, I do not have affiliate programs. I do not, in other words, I don't get any kickbacks from anyone. When I teach this, not only on this Facebook, but on my blog and in any of my teachings, if I send you someplace to purchase a homeopathic medicine, if you're a client of mine, no matter where, I do not get anything paid back to me. Because if I did that, and I've said this before, and it's very important, if I did that, I might be tempted to tell you about superfluous medicines that may not even be useful to you so that you buy more. It's human nature to kind of think that way. You have to fight it, because you know that if you teach someone to go to people are going to my blog and they're clicking on a medicine, and I could have them click on 2 medicines. I could talk about 2, and now I'm getting double the income. Well, I don't want the income from that. That's not my shtick, as they say. The way I make my income is in my courses. I'll be honest with you. That's how I make that, and through my case taking. But now it's more courses than anything else. And but I still love teaching for free, and I love that you do this, that you come here and learn this. Would calendula or Cantharis be better as a topical for a burn? Not better, but in addition to. Yeah, in addition to. Boiron Canada doesn't offer the discount. You're right. So don't go to Boiron Canada. Go to Boiron USA. And I'm pretty sure you can do that. If you click in and you use and on your browser, you say, I'm in the US, or in your browser, you write Boiron USA, you should be fine with it. All right. Let's see. Burns in cold water. I'm thinking that it was not a good idea. Opposite rather than similar syllabus. Okay, so glad you are so kind. You're sweet. Thank you. I'm glad you're glad. Thank you to everyone. Remember, it's every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please share this with your friends. Go to YouTube, check it out there. You can go back and watch these over and over again so that you can keep learning. If you are a homeschooling family, use this information to teach your kids self-reliancy. Use this to teach your kids a little Latin. Remember, all these medicines are in Latin. Use this to, even if you're not a homeschooling family, just teach your children. It's the way of the future. This is top shelf medicine. It's the best way I can put it. I have a lot of respect for surgery and certain kinds of medicine. I love diagnostics in modern medicine. We need doctors for diagnostics. But when it comes to medicine, the actual medicine itself, this can't be beat. If it's not working and you can't get that far, and you know that you've got more to go and you just don't know what to do homeopathically, then you still have your doctor. And you want that too. You want a full, rounded out team. A good chiropractor is a good idea too. And a good grocer, someone you buy your groceries from that you can count on. Also, you want really good food. So, thanks for meeting with me, everyone. You're all so kind. I love seeing you all there. God bless all of you. And see you next Monday night. Bye.